family. It's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, with our queer news for today. Now, I want to make you a promise. We will continue to bring you the latest in queer news, culture, and politics. 7 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So if you're digging our intersectional take on the daily, consider joining the QCrew. The QCrew is our monthly membership program we started to help us grow the podcast. With your help, we can bring you more stories celebrating our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and comrade communities. It starts as low as $5 a month. Now, you've shown your support by tuning into this episode, and you can show your curiosity by wanting to watch that Felicia D. Henderson interview by clicking the link in the show notes to learn more about the QCrew. Now for the news. A federal judge in Indiana gave a ruling that allows a 10-year-old trans girl to rejoin her school softball team. Now that's the kind of news I love to kick off this podcast with. Next, history has been made. For the very first time, a Black trans girl is featured as the romantic lead in a teen romantic comedy. And have you heard about Jesse Peterson? The minister and staunch anti-LGBTQ bigot who might just be gay himself? Let's get into it. Let's go, family.
You are now tuned in to higher frequencies. We do this frequently. Turn your radio station to E3 for that decency. Listen to great music and the latest movement. Safe listening for anyone that's tuned in. Who you waking up to? Anna DeShawn, QCrew and friends. It's that real talk. Online radio with the spins. You caught up in traffic, frustrated. Just check in with E3 to shift your vibrations and get elevated. That's queer radio done right. Choose to be yourself. That's the only way to live life, and that's how it's done here. Just know y'all tuned in to the greatest. Ain't no competition. We ain't worried about the other stations. Check.
Our leading story for today is out of Indiana. A federal judge has ruled that a 10-year-old trans girl must be allowed to play on her school's girls' softball team. Can you believe that? In Indiana, no less. This ruling came as a slap to the Indiana legislators who passed the law banning transgender girls from participating in all-female school sports after the governor vetoed this legislation. That's right. Indiana is one of those states that sent anti-trans legislation to the governor's desk. The governor did the right thing and vetoed it, and then they came back and overrode the veto and passed the legislation anyway. Now, y'all know this is a very rare instance, and it's been happening with this anti-trans legislation. And it happened here in Indiana. Well, Governor Holcomb warned legislators that this would be the outcome in the courts. And here we are. The judge based the decision on the fact that the 10-year-old has been identifying as a girl before she was 4. Most importantly, a state changed the gender marker on her birth certificate to female in 2021, and she's currently on puberty blockers. It was further stated that the new law is a violation of Title IX, which bans discrimination based on sex in all schools that receive federal funding. Ooh, don't we love it when the law works for the good? I will say this though, as this is great news, this was such a public ordeal that I can't imagine this is over for the young girl or her family. For that, we will keep them lifted because I'm sure there will be some bigots along the way that won't let them forget. Our next story. Have you heard about Anything is Possible? Well, it is Billy Porter's directorial debut that just made history. For the very first time, a Black trans girl is featured as the romantic lead on a teen rom-com. It premiered on Amazon Prime on July 22nd, and Eva Raine plays Kelsey, who is navigating her life in high school and having her first boyfriend. In refreshing news, the film is plotted to largely avoid traumatic twists and complexities often highlighted in the lives of queer and trans characters. It is mostly a lighthearted movie that explores love and friendships. Billy told Variety that this is an aspirational story. It's almost like a fairy tale. To me and all of us in the queer and trans community, it's a look at what we can be. That's what we as artists get to do. Look at what we can be and what we should be. Yes, representation matters, and that can never be understated. If you want to check out the trailer, we've included a link in the show notes. And now, our last story of the day is about Jesse Peterson. He is one of the most outspoken anti-LGBTQ public figures on the planet. He said things like, lesbians are violent in their relationships, and that, quote, radical homosexuals have destroyed Black families. What? Well, y'all, it's come to light that he's been having sexual relationships with men for years, like years on years. These allegations arose on a platform called The Church Militant, which is a far-right Catholic group and website. Don't even be concerned, okay? Well, Patrick Rooney is one of the men who say he's had a sexual relationship with Peterson, which he has claimed lasted about 10 years. He stated this in a video interview on Church Militant's site in June. Since then, many other men have spoken up about either being propositioned by Jesse Peterson or having sex with him too. Now, you might be wondering what Peterson has to say about all these things. Well, he has refused to address the issue. He hosts a radio show, and of course, a listener called in to ask him about the Church Militant video. His reaction was to call her a wicked woman, and he hung up the phone. Yep. If that's not the reaction of a guilty man, I don't know what is. After that story, it feels fitting to close out the podcast with a word from Bayard Rustin. He said, "If I do not fight bigotry wherever it is, bigotry is thereby strengthened. And to the degree that it is strengthened, it will thereby have the power to turn on me." I want to use this word to remind us that the Jesse Petersons of the world cannot be left to spew their hate. We must fight back in every way, from the courtroom to our classrooms to our libraries. We have the power to fight, and our fighting is far stronger together than it is apart. Till tomorrow, family. Peace. If you enjoyed what you hear, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is a production of E3 Radio, your #1 queer radio station playing queer music and reporting on queer news in high rotation.